Right, what's up guys, JJ Richards here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we've got a very exciting video for you guys because I'm going to be deciding what is the world's greatest protein bar. But before we go into today's video guys, I need you to do me two big things. The first thing is give the video a big thumbs up because I promise you this is going to be an epic video. And the second thing is I need you to subscribe. Literally 2 out of 10 people, that's 20% of people watching my videos have subscribed. So if you are one of those 80% of people that haven't bothered to subscribe to my channel, I strongly suggest you do it now, okay? I'm on my road to getting 1,000 subscribers and you guys will be helping me out massively if you just hit that subscribe button. But let's get into today's video. So I've got a selection of protein bars in front of me, probably the most popular ones in and around the UK. A few of them you can get across over in America, I know. But I did a poll quite a while ago and asked people to tell me what their favourite protein bar was. So I've kind of gone with the protein bars from that poll. So I'm actually going to be basing it on 4 different criterias. So the first one is going to be accessibility in regards to how easy is it to actually access this protein bar for convenience. Number 2 is going to be branding, because branding is key, especially now the supplement industry is huge. If you go into any sports supplement shop, there's loads and loads of protein bars. So the branding's got to be on point, it's got to stand out. Number 3, one of the most important aspects of a protein bar is the macros. And number 4 is probably the most important out of all of them. It's going to be the taste. So as the 4 criteria, I'm giving a score from 1 up to 5 being the best. Okay, so it's a total score of 20. So whoever gets the highest score is going to be the winner. So let's start off with the Snickers Protein Bar. So these are pretty accessible at the moment. They're in most kind of convenience stores. And there's quite a few different options you can get of these. You can get the Mars bar ones, the Bounty ones, Twix ones now I think as well. So it's a pretty gimmicky product. I've actually done full reviews on these protein bars before. If you haven't seen those videos, check them out. But if we look through the macros on these, like per 47 grams, you've got 7.8 grams of fat. You've got 20 grams of carbohydrate, which 14 grams is from sugar. And just 10 grams of protein. Not great in regards to macros. And now, let's give it a taste before we give it the overall score. It looks absolutely battered. Look at the state of that. Right, so scoring then for the Snickers bar. So I think in regards to accessibility, you can get this in most convenience stores in and around the UK. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for accessibility. In regards to branding, like, it doesn't look that great to me. However, because it's got the Snickers branding on it, the brand is already strong. Because of that reason, these have been out for a long time. It's quite a gimmicky product as well, so the branding is quite strong on this. So I think for branding, I'm going to give it a 3.5 for branding. Macros, I'm going to give it a 1 for macros, just because if I wanted to have 10 grams of protein, I wouldn't want to have 20 grams of sugar alongside it. And then for taste, I'm going to have to be pretty generous for taste because these are pretty decent. So I'm going to have to go for a solid 4 out of 5 for taste. So that gives the Snickers Protein Bar a grand total of 12.5 out of 20. Not bad. Just let down by the macros. So next, we will go for the Fulfil Protein Bar. Now these are fairly new actually, and I always see these every time I go into Tesco's. I have tried a few of the different flavours before. They're quite small, if you think size matters. So it's not the biggest protein bar in the world. However, looks pretty good. Right, so in regards to macros, and I must say that they do not make it very easy to read the macros on the back of this. Not quite as simple as the Snickers bar, but I think I've figured it out. There's 6 grams of fat, 3.6 of that is from saturate. Carbohydrates, you've got 11 grams and only 1.2 of that is from sugar, and protein, 15 grams of protein. So not bad. The protein to sugar content is far better than the Snickers bar, and there's 15 grams in quite a small little portion size, which is pretty good. Let's give it a taste test. Looks pretty cool. Right, so in regards to a score for the Fulfil bar then, so accessibility, I'm probably going to say a 3 out of 5, because you can get them in quite a lot of convenience stores. I actually think I got this one from Superdrug, so you can get it in quite a lot of stores. Not quite as much as a Snickers bar, but you can still get them quite a lot of shops over in the UK. Branding wise, it looks pretty good, quite bright. It looks alright on the shelf. Not quite a strong brand as the Snickers, but I'm going to give it a 3 for branding. In regards to macros, the macros are pretty good. Sugars are quite low. Decent amount of protein for a small bar. So I'm going to be quite generous, I think. And I'm going to give the macros a 3.5 out of 5. Taste. So this one's a salted caramel flavour. It's a little bit dry. And because I've just had a Snickers bar, which has obviously got 10 grams of sugar, this one's got less than 2 grams of sugar. There's going to be a big taste comparison, so you've got to bear in mind the amount of sugar to a product versus the taste. So because this is quite low in sugar, it tastes okay for that reason. So again, I'm going to give this one a 3.5 for taste. So that gives the Fulfil Protein Bar a grand total of 13 out of 20, which puts this one in pole position, surpassing the Snickers Protein Bar. Right, so the next one to review is the Quest Protein Bar. Now, Quest are massive in America, but not quite as big over in the UK. I actually picked this one up from Holland & Barrett. I loved Quest Protein Bars about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were really popular, but you don't really see them as much these days. Never see them in supermarkets, only really in sports supplement shops. So, branding wise, it looks alright. It stands out on the shelf, I think. Quest was quite popular, and there was quite a hype around Quest a few years ago. So I still think that's carrying them a little bit, but I do think it's kind of gone down a little bit, especially in popularity in the UK. I've never seen anyone eating a Quest bar. Let's have a look at the macros then. So at least the macros are nice and easy to read on this, unlike that Fulfil bar. So per bar, which is 60 grams, there's 8.5 grams of fat, which 2.8 from saturates. Carbohydrates, really good. 8.1 gram of carb and only 1.1 of sugar. So this is the lowest in regards to the sugar. And protein, a massive 21 grams of protein. So I think so far this is definitely the king of the macros at the moment. But let's give it a taste test and see what it's tasting like. Looks dry. It's super chewy and super dry. This is like a workout for my jaw. No. Not keen on that. I'm still trying to chew my way through it. Right. So, let's give the Quest bar a rating. So, unfortunately, accessibility is going to have to be low because you just don't get these very many shops in the UK. So, I think accessibility, unfortunately, is going to have to be a 1. Branding, I'm going to be fairly generous and I'm going to give it a 3 for branding. Macros, the macros are really good, to be fair. Like, I don't really think you could get much better for a protein bar, so I think I'm going to have to give it a 5 out of 5 for macros. And taste, I'm going to be generous and give it a 1 out of 5 for taste because that is not nice. It's very, very dry, very, very chewy, and my jaw is actually hurting from chewing it. If you want to have a nice strong jawline, buy Quest bars, eat them every day, and I guarantee you'll have a super strong jawline. So, Quest bar, grand total of 10 out of 20. Sorry Quest, but you are in last place. Right, next up. the PhD Smart Bar. I think these look super cool, and I have tried most of these flavours of this protein bar already, and I must say that I am a big fan of the PhD Smart Bars. PhD have been around for quite a while, and I just feel loyal because PhD is actually produced in Hull, so I've got to be slightly loyal to PhD because it's from my hometown. Right, so let's have a look at the macros. So it's actually a little bit annoying, so when it shows you the macros of it, it tells you per 100 grams. However, it's a 64 gram bar. So I'm not going to go through the maths and work it out, but it has got the macros on the front of it. It's got 20 grams of protein, 2.1 grams of sugar, 2.1 grams of impact carbs. Let us have a little taste. This is the salty fudge brownie flavour. Again, it's quite chewy, but I think that's quite common with a lot of protein bars, but if you ate one of those, you definitely feel full up after it, and the taste is definitely pretty good. So if we are to rate the PhD protein bar, accessibility, you can get these quite a lot of places these days, but it's not quite as accessible as a few of the other ones. So I think for the PhD Smart Bar, I'm going to have to give this one a 3 out of 5. Branding, I really like the branding. I think they look really cool. They definitely stand out. So branding again for this, I'm going to give it a solid 3.5 out of 5. Macros, so I think 20 grams of protein and only 2.1 grams of sugar is very, very good. So I think macros on this, I'm going to have to be generous, and I'm going to give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Okay, taste, not the nicest out of all of them, because I think the Snickers one is going to be the nicest tasting because of all the sugar. However, bearing in mind the taste versus sugar, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. So total score then for the PhD Smart Bar is 14.5 out of 20, which puts this bad boy in the lead, but we still have a few more to try. So let's rattle through them. I've got 3 more left to try, so bear with me. So the next one we're going to try is Amino Protein Bar. So you don't really see these that often. The only places you really tend to see them is gyms store them a lot, and also like health food shops. I got this one from Holland and Barrett. I will confess, I used to work in a gym where we used to sell Amino products, so I've tried and tasted all of these bars about 100 times, and this is the coconut one, which is my absolute favourite, so it may have a slight advantage on the taste test because of that reason. But accessibility for this product, again, it's not great because you can't quite get them in most like convenience stores, so you don't need to be driving by the petrol station and be able to grab one of these. So I think accessibility, we're going to have to go quite low on this one. So I think I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 for that. Branding, it looks pretty good, but nobody really knows Amino in the UK. It's not a massive brand like a few of the other ones. And they do look quite good, but I think for branding, I'd probably have to give it a 2.5, unfortunately. Let's have a quick look at the macros then, see what the macros are like. So per 65 grams, you have got 14 grams of fat, 21 grams of carbs, which 14 grams of those are sugar, and 20 grams of protein. So in regards to protein, it seems that 20 grams is the most at the moment that we're getting in a protein bar. However, this one is also packed full of sugar as well, which I think is going to give it an advantage on the taste test. So yeah, I already know that these taste great. So I know I've done this a little bit backwards on this one, but I think macros on this one, I can't be as generous of the other ones because the sugar is quite high on it. So I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 5 for macros. And then taste, it tastes pretty damn good, but that's obviously because there's so much sugar in it. But I'm still going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 for taste, because this is my favourite protein bar so far. So for the Amino Protein Bar, it's got a total score of 12 out of 20. Actually hasn't scored that good, to be honest with you, but I think it's just a taste that carries it. Right, we've got 2 more to go, okay? 2 more to go. The next one, this Cymix Protein Bar. I have very low expectations of this. You kind of see these in a lot of the budget shops in the UK. So, Pound Shop, Poundland, B&M, all those kind of budget shops all seem to stock this protein bar, and it did only cost me £1, so bear that in mind because it's pretty cheap. So looking in regards to accessibility, not really that good, to be honest with you. The branding looks pretty naff, doesn't it, to be fair? Definitely wouldn't stand out on the shelf if it was against some of the other protein bars. But if we have a quick look at the macros on this one, so per 40 gram bar, 6.3 grams of fat, 14 grams of carbs, but only 0.8 grams of sugar. So this has got the lowest amount of sugar out of all of them, and it's got 14 grams of protein. So the macros on that for £1, like 14 grams of protein for £1, and you're only getting, you know, 0.8 grams of sugar. That's pretty decent. I'm expecting it to taste like a brick, but we'll give it a taste anyway and see what it tastes like. Looks alright. Oh, it starts off good, and then it kind of hits you with this disgusting aftertaste. Do you know what? I'm disappointed because the first few bites actually tasted pretty good, but then you get quite a nasty aftertaste in your mouth afterwards, which is quite common with protein products, and especially because it's not masked by lots of sugar. So I will bear that in mind. But if we look at this Cymix Protein Bar, in regards to a score, so accessibility, it's not bad. Like, if you like going in budget shops a lot, then you'll see these things all of the time, but it's not quite convenient as some of the other ones. So I think I'm going to have to give this one probably a 2.5 for accessibility. Branding, ugh, I'm going to give it a 1, and that's me being generous. Like macros, you've got to be pretty generous with the macros on this one, because it's actually pretty good, to be fair. Like 14 grams of protein for £1, you can't go wrong for that. So I think macros, I'm going to have to be generous and give it a 4.5 out of 5. However, taste does massively let it down. It is nice in the Quest bar, and I give the Quest bar a 1, so I think I'm going to have to give this a 1.5 out of 5 in regards to taste. So that gives this protein bar a grand total of 9.5 out of 20. I'm sorry, last place, however the macros are pretty good. And last, but certainly not least, I thank you all if you've managed to get through this video up to this point. So, the Grenade Carb Killer, possibly the best protein bar on the market. And the reason I say that, because in regards to accessibility, you can't go anywhere without seeing a Grenade Carb Killer on the shelf. Like Costa, Carb Killer, Marks and Spencer's, Carb Killer, Tesco's, any kind of local supermarket in the UK sell Grenade Carb Killer bars. So I don't think you're going to beat this for accessibility. Branding, like, look at that. Like, not only just comparing the branding for a protein bar or even in the supplement world, I think that Grenade are probably one of the world's best companies in regards to their branding. Like, Alan has done a great job with the Grenade brand, and I think that that itself just looks unbelievable for a protein bar. Now let's have a look at macros. Again, nice and easy to understand, fulfill, learn. So, 60 gram bar, you have got 8.9 grams of fat, 16.9 grams of carbohydrate, but only 1.9 grams of sugar. And protein, 20.3, okay? So this has got 0.3 more protein than the rest of them. So again, this is pretty decent in regards to a meal replacement bar, because it's pretty much packed full of decent macros, but the most important thing is the taste. This is the cookie dough flavour. I actually don't think I've tried this one before, but let's give it a whirl. It doesn't taste that great, this one. I've tried some of the other Carb Killer bars, and they're really good. I've never tried the cookie dough one before, but it's not a flavour I would buy again. I usually like the salted peanut one, or what, there's like another white chocolate one as well that I normally get. I think it's white chocolate, I can't remember, but that's pretty decent. But let's give the Grenade Carb Killer a score. So, accessibility, it's got to be 5 out of 5, right? You can't go anywhere and not see one of these. Branding, again, it's got to be a 5 out of 5 for branding. Macros, the macros are pretty decent, to be honest with you. Really high in protein, really low in sugar. So I think macros, I'm going to give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Taste, for me, wasn't that great, so I had to mark it pretty low in regards to taste. So I'm probably going to score this one. Didn't like it as much as a PhD, and I give that a 3.5. So I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 for taste, which gives the Grenade Carb Killer a grand total of 17 out of 20. Just let down by the taste, but that means that this, ladies and gentlemen, is the best protein bar available at the moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, a little bit of fun. Let me know in the comment section below what your favourite protein bar is, and if you disagree with the results I've given today, I'll be interested in your feedback on your opinion on the protein bars. But don't forget, make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and until next time, peace.